We're always trying to find ways to make our work easier and save time. Guess what? We just found a new way to do tasks we've done a million times before, and it got us wondering why we didn't find it sooner. So welcome back to Infinite Innovations Tech. We want to share some cool stuff we've learned in woodworking. We've compiled 10 simple tips we learned from the pros or figured out ourselves. These tips are straightforward but helpful, helping us stay organized and get things done faster when working with wood. If you have your tricks, feel free to share them in the comments too. Now, let's delve into the first tip. Step 1. Wood layout, triangle registration. When arranging wood pieces, especially when dealing with multiple cuts of similar lengths, it's easy to get them mixed up. While numbering the pieces and indicating their join points is valid, using a triangular shape is even more straightforward. By scribing a triangle onto your wood while they're in the correct position, you can quickly visualize their relative positions when moved. The key is that there will only be one way the triangle shape fits together. To implement this, use a straight edge to mark a triangle onto your wood, ensuring that some part of the triangle touches all the pieces you want to register with each other. This method is swift and easy, making it an excellent tool for correctly referencing even the most intricate glue-ups. Whether you're working with boards laminated in a specific orientation or multiple pieces that need to be in a particular place, the triangle registration mark is a valuable technique. Step 2. Marking cut lines. When measuring material for cutting, it's helpful to make a small mark on the side where you intend to cut. Taking this straightforward action not only saves considerable time that would otherwise go into remeasuring, but also aids in accounting for the kerf, representing the width of your blade. The kerf is the gap between the left and right sides of the saw teeth. There will be some wood loss whenever you cut something, turning it into sawdust. If you cut directly on the marked line without considering the kerf, the blade would eat into your measured piece, leading to an inaccurate cut. While this might not seem like a big issue, it can be pretty frustrating if your project ends up being off by 1/8. The solution is to measure your piece and make a small mark on one side of the measured line, indicating which side to cut. Once measured, align your blade with the line, ensuring the blade is on the side with the mark. This way, the kerf will be on one side of the line, preserving your measured area. This trick is convenient when working with a partner, as it helps communicate which areas to cut. Step 3. Straight lines on dowels. Creating a straight line on a dowel can seem challenging, even with fancy measuring tools. However, the solution is simple. Place the dowel on any straight slotted surface. In a workshop, this could be the track of your table saw. Just lay a pencil against the track and the dowel to create a straight line. If you don't have a table saw, use a door jamb or casing instead. This technique works well for various cylindrical objects when you need a straight bisecting line. Step 4. Story stick. Let's break down Step 4, which is about creating a story stick. Imagine you're working on a woodworking project and need to measure things accurately. Instead of repeatedly using a tape measure and risking mistakes, you can simplify things by making a story stick. This is a marked reference tool you can easily craft from any scrap piece of material with a square edge. What makes story sticks handy is their versatility. You can tailor them to be as precise as your project demands. They're less cumbersome than a tape measure, and once you mark a measurement on the stick, there's no room for misinterpretation. By elevating the approach, you can actively use a story stick to guide the drilling of holes at a consistent distance from an edge. Make a story stick as usual, but drill a hole at the measured mark this time. Now you've transformed your story stick into a helpful drill guide. Step 5. Drill depth. Moving on to Step 5. We're talking about drill depth. Only some holes you drill need to go through the material. While it's easy to set up stops on a drill press, there are situations where using a handheld power drill makes more sense, like when you need portability or when dealing with more extensive materials. To control the depth, you can easily create a depth marker by using a piece of tape to indicate the intended depth of the drill bit. This tip is also covered in the woodworking class under the lesson on drilling perfect holes. Step 6. Glue cleanup. Lastly, Step 6 focuses on dealing with glue, which is a fantastic tool in woodworking but can be messy. Applying glue is straightforward, but if there's any excess squeeze out, you can clean it up while it is still wet by applying sawdust. Rub the sawdust over the glue, and it'll absorb the excess without causing the wood to swell, which could happen if you use a damp cloth or sponge. When dealing with removing glue from your hands, simplify the process. Once your piece is securely glued, rub your hands together to remove any glue easily. If the glue is still wet, it should flake off effortlessly. This method is more effective than using a damp cloth, as moisture has the potential to cause the wood to swell. Step 7. Ensuring stability in tricky glue-ups. Only some gluing processes go off without a hitch. When clamping wood pieces together, they may sometimes tend to slip apart, causing frustration in the assembly process. This challenge is widespread when dealing with multiple pieces glued together and secured with a single clamp. Fortunately, a simple solution to this issue is to sprinkle a small amount of salt onto the glue before clamping. The shape of salt crystals plays a crucial role, acting like square wheels on a car and effectively preventing the pieces from sliding around during the clamping process. It's essential to note that using too much salt, as shown in the illustration above, is only for demonstrative purposes. Once the clamping is complete, the salt becomes embedded into the wood, remaining completely untraceable from the outside. Step 8. Protective wax paper cover. Avoiding the mishap of inadvertently gluing your work to the workbench is a lesson learned from experience. Keep a roll of wax or parchment paper at hand to maintain a clean workbench and prevent your work from sticking to it during drying. Instead of using the serrated edge of the roll, a more convenient approach is to unroll more wax paper than you think you'll need, and then trim it to the specific shape once it's under the work. A shop ruler is handy for achieving a clean edge on wax paper. Step 9. Instant hold with hot glue. There are instances when a conventional clamp doesn't fit where it's needed during a glue-up, or impatience sets in, urging you to move on to the next part of your project before the wood glue has set. In such cases, hot glue becomes a valuable ally, acting as a temporary support in conjunction with wood glue to secure the glue-up instantly. To implement this technique, plug in your hot glue gun and let it reach the appropriate temperature before applying wood glue. Once the hot glue is ready, apply wood glue as usual, leaving small gaps intermittently in the pieces to be glued. Squirt hot glue into these gaps immediately after applying the wood glue. Before the hot glue can set, join the wood pieces and hold them in place for a few seconds. The hot glue provides initial bonding strength, allowing you to continue working and holding the wood in place until the wood glue establishes a stronger and more permanent bond. Step 10. Organizing sandpaper. We had various types of sandpaper available for different purposes, leading to a disorganized storage situation. To tackle this, we decided to streamline our sandpaper storage. Since most sandpaper sheets are the size of printer paper, we opted for a simple and cost-effective solution, an accordion-style file folder. First, we removed all the sandpaper from its original packaging and organized it based on grit. Each grit has its designated slot within the file folder. This approach has made our sandpaper easily accessible in one place. When working on a project, we can grab the folder and have all the sandpaper we need at our fingertips. So, which hack impressed you the most? Have you tried any before? Please share your ideas in the comments below and let's continue the conversation. Subscribe to the channel to get updated and remember to hit the bell icon to receive an update. Thanks for watching the video. See you at the next one.